6 months ago, we sat here and you told me something.
I still believe that maybe the majority of our work should be done ourselves.
So I want to put you on the record again and see if anything changed there.
Me and my colleagues, we went full AI. We're not doing any writing of code anymore, basically. Just describe the problem to an AI agent and have it take care of it. If you don't adapt, you're gonna be left behind, and that's the reality of it.
I think there is a real problem with companies cutting all the juniors now.
It's getting tougher and tougher for junior developers to find jobs, definitely. I still believe that if you're a high quality developer, you're gonna have a job. It just depends on what the requirements of that job will be and what you'll need to do at that job.
6 months ago, we sat here and you told me something, that majority of developers' work should still be done by themselves. And a lot has happened by then. So I want to put you on the record again and see if anything changed there.
Yeah, it's been there's been monumental changes, and it honestly feels like we're living in some weird simulation or some weird timeline where somebody's just pressing like skip, because things change on a basically daily basis. So everything's changed from the workflow to how the tasks are being made, how they're being reviewed, how everything's being like pushed, and there's been so many changes, honestly.
And are you still standing by that statement, or has that flipped? Who's doing most of the coding now, you or your agent?
Well, for me personally, I know some teams out there still do it the way that we used to do it, manual. What my colleague jokingly called manual labor. Me and my colleagues, we went full AI. Basically, we still do most of our reviews. Like a human takes a look at them. We also have AI reviews, but most of the workflow is just describe the problem to an AI agent and have it take care of it, and give back the steps to test the stuff. We also invested a lot of time and effort into a testing suite. So if something ends up breaking, it's much easier to detect, and the core functionality should remain stable at all times.
And can you walk me through the workflow? How you get a task from your PM or whoever it is, right? And at that point, what do you do first, right? How does that go?
Yeah, most of the time it's just the task is just one line, one sentence, like something is broken or something needs to be implemented. So if the background of the task is not too familiar to me, I'll go and ask people like, what do we expect here, or just, schedule a quick sync or something. But if I do know what needs to be done, then I'll so I'll go into our work tree, or like work. So we switched. We used to have multiple different workspaces. So front end was separate, back end was separate. Then we've got some like microservice architecture code bases that were separate as well. And all of those would be, separate IDE windows that I would work in. And back then, like 6 months ago, during our first episode, even back then we were kind of experimenting with AI and working with it, but all of those would be separate agents. So there would be a lot of copy pasting between the different agents, and like, give me a quick summary of what we did and how front end should integrate this, and then I would copy paste that into the front end agents, like terminal or whatever. That has flipped. So we switched to sort of a meta workspace where we've got different code bases here, and then what we did was we created a new agent directory above the different code bases, so it's one agent overviewing the multiple code bases and implementing work in all of those. So I would just open up, if I get a task, I would just open up the super agent and describe the issue and what we want done. Another thing that changed was the implementation of work trees and using work trees to split out work so we can do multiple multiple things at once in parallel. So I would just tell the agent, do this work in a separate work tree, and I would fire up a new agent, describe another problem there, and tell it, okay, we want to do this thing in a separate work tree as well. And you're not wasting time just chatting with one agent and waiting for it to respond, and then especially which gets longer and longer the bigger the code base is, but also the more code bases it needs to work across. It can get a bit slower. So instead of waiting for it, I launch a new agent and start working on something else. And then once the initial agent is done, it gives me, it either asks me to for like my decision on something, or for further explanations, or whatever, or it finishes and tells me, and then I ask it like, how do I test this, and what do I need to do to ensure it works.
Okay. And if you had to like put percentages on, like just roughly, of what your work consists of, like let's say writing a prompt, which I believe is a big portion of it, then reviewing a code, and then writing a code, which is probably close to none. Yeah. How would you like the workflow? What would be percentages?
Yeah, you're kind of putting me on the spot here. So for the last one, yeah, we're not doing any writing of code anymore, basically. And regarding then, like, reviews are still done by hand most of the time. Well, maybe not most of the time, some of the time. So there's a percentage, quite a substantial percentage there. Maybe, I don't know, 15-20%. And then the rest is just either testing or interacting with the agent, or communicating with the team and stuff. But most of the work is just done through the agent, and then a human just kind of reviews it and makes sure it's okay and it's up to like the standards and the UX is good and stuff like that.
And do you still provide architecture for the agents, or do they handle that part as well?
Architectural decisions are still handled by us, mostly through, we'll give some, well, probably not fully by us, but we'll give some pointers and stuff. And most of it's a project that's been in the works for a few years now. So most of the architecture is already set. So all that's left is just the new stuff, which, the agent can do a pretty good job at handling that. And the file structure is mostly handled just through, as I said, through our meta-workspace. And then we make sure to document all the features and everything in each of the separate workspaces. So the agent knows how to kind of traverse the tree of documentations and stuff, and knows how to operate in that environment.
That's amazing. And how does that, like you just told me you don't write any code, right? And same with our engineers, like that's gone, right? And how
Yeah.
does that, I know us developers, engineers, it's tough to give control to something. Especially like we are shipping now weekly what we did monthly, or even
Yeah.
more. Yeah, it's insane, and there is no way you can follow up with that. You can read that code, you can test it out, but there is no way you read 100% of it and test out 100% of it. So there is like that variable of, hey, it just might not work at some point and we'll need to fix it. But still, clients and people and product owners are still okay with that because we are moving so fast, right?
Yeah.
How did you let go of that part of being like in control, knowing what's happening, and here this AI thing coming that everybody's saying developers are gone, AI is here, right? Which you and I both see that's not the case, but still
Yeah.
adapting to that must be really hard.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you're like me, I love challenges. I love actually developing and solving hard problems and seeing what all we can accomplish with code. So kind of giving that up. It wasn't easy, definitely. And then also, as you said, like trusting some entity that nobody actually knows what it's doing. I think it's kind of out of our hands by now. Um, it's definitely a tough choice to make, but you said it yourself. It makes us so much faster. It makes you ship so much faster that we don't have a choice. Like if you don't adapt, you're gonna be left behind, and that's the reality of it. And yeah, it does come with certain risks, like shipping something that might be broken or doesn't work as we expected. But that's just another problem to solve, I guess. How to ensure that it does what we want it to do? How do we ensure that the code is up to our standards and that we have testing that's good enough to ensure that nothing breaks?
Yeah, the whole industry just shift to kind of that, optimizing the workflows, and like there is this term context engineering, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that AI knows, like writing specs, making projects AI friendly, and just prompting it well enough. Do you think that's like now maybe one of the most important skills you can have as a developer? Like making sure that you understand the task at first that you get, and then being able to translate that understanding to AI terms and like prompting it well enough.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing I would kind of bundle up into that is how to be efficient with tokens. You know, there's there's a website where you can post how much token usage you've had. There's people out here spending like $50,000 on monthly on their token usage, and that's just
Yeah.
it's wild. So yeah, that's a really big concern, especially it's there's been news of these bigger, larger corporations like Microsoft and Uber and many others doubting their ROI on token usage. So yeah, context engineering and setting up proper documentation, that's a big part of what we do on a day-to-day basis. And I don't think anybody's got it figured out, but I think just documentation, uh, documenting it and ensuring like you've got proper skills that the agent can use. Those are kind of the main things we rely on. And then also offering a good kind of step by step or a good breakdown of a problem can also help, instead of just saying, hey, this is broken, and then the agent has to traverse, I don't know, like 200 files just to find what the issue is, instead of saying, okay, the button on this page and this specific component doesn't work as expected, blah blah blah, and then you describe the issue in a thorough and very very like detailed manner. That's gonna make a huge difference as well.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And I think I want to hear your thoughts as well, but why are these big conglomerates, right? Microsoft, Uber, like all these huge companies backtracking and saying, "Oh, this might not be worth for us because we are spending who knows how much money on AI, and we are not seeing that much more quality features being shipped because they are shipping, but nothing that's groundbreaking like they did before." And like I see it as a couple of problems. Like I think for small teams like yours, like mine, where we have, I don't know, 10 developers or 5 or 1 on a project, whatever it is, I think for that developer, he can utilize AI so well for a couple
Yeah.
of reasons. He knows exactly where is what at this project, so he can prompt better, like you said. But also, there is not so much noise, right? It's easier to cut through that, and teams are more trained on how to actually do this. And we have this workflow. There is 10 people. You can easily check, oh, this guy is not doing it right.
Exactly.
So train him instead of having 20,000 employees and having like that's no way. So I think they are still struggling with scaling it to that scale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's at the end of the day, it's a management issue. Either management of people, management of other resources. We had it as well. Kind of, we ended up switching to a different AI agent, which had like extra token usage turned on, and then you spend like $10, and you're like, what? Like, where did it go? And you didn't do anything like
Productive.
productive, let's say. I mean, there was a small change, but it wasn't $10 worth of change. So I think that's a huge point, is being on top of how much tokens everybody is using. And honestly, for me, I don't think extra token usage is worth it. There's that command that you can use which checks your current token usage, even if you've got a subscription, and how much it would cost if you were using tokens. And I remember, even, I don't know, if like 5 months ago, when we were still using Haiku and Sonnet, I managed to rack up like $200 of usage in like 4 days. And that's a crazy number. That's, when you scale it up by 10 people, and then you scale it up through like months and
Months. Yeah.
months of usage, it becomes a big money leak, I guess. So I think that's a big concern, is how do we manage that? And we decided that we're not gonna do any extra token usage. We've got our subscriptions. Once you run out of that, then I don't know.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Go
Yeah.
back to manual
Yeah.
labor.
Manual labor. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's one more point. Like, I don't think, at least what I'm seeing is all these AI companies, Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini, whatever
Yeah.
it is, right? They still haven't made a single dollar, right?
Yeah.
They're all in investments. They're investing in each other. It's all this bubble that will burst sometimes. That's inevitable.
Yeah.
But what happens when it does burst? When investors come in and say, okay, guys, there are billions and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars here, and we can't invest no more if we don't see some profit. And then they say, okay, tokens are not as cheap anymore. They are 10x the price or whatever. Then we are in a big problem, right? And still,
Yeah.
companies who rely on it will pay, right? But maybe the smaller users, I think they will always have some kind of plan for smaller users. But yeah, what happens then? Like, if already now these huge corporations are saying this is not worth for us, what
Yeah.
happens when it increases?
Yeah. That's a huge issue that probably nobody can answer. Like,
Yeah.
let me grab my crystal ball or something to see into the future. But it's definitely, and we talked about this in the last episode. It's definitely coming up. The real question is when. When is that going to happen, and what are we going to do then? I believe we're gonna move to it. Either it's gonna be still worth it to use like Claude and these bigger agents, even once the cost rises. But I believe we're gonna switch to local LLMs at some point. They're getting pretty good already, even with like, if you've got limited resources, you're never gonna be able to have as many resources as Anthropic has. But I think it's gonna be doable, or like manageable, not up to the point of what we've got with Opus and these other bigger models. Uh, but I think that's probably gonna be the direction we're headed, if they drop the gauntlet on us and
Yeah.
just increase the subscription from like $100 for the 5x to, I don't know, to like 500. It's gonna be
Exactly.
harder and harder to justify the cost, I guess.
Especially while they are competing with the likes of Google, and Google
Yeah,
can squeeze them out, right? They can play the longer game and keep it cheap and bleed money longer than some of these other companies. So it will
definitely.
be it will be fun to watch and scary at the same time.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Last,
And
sorry.
you've also got the competition from the Chinese
Yeah,
AIs.
yeah,
So it's gonna be it's the race to the moon back again, I guess,
yeah.
between the bigger players.
Exactly. It's for some it'll be to the moon. For some it'll be down, like done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
think so too.
But you can see even now, like Entropic releases Claude design and Figma prices drop 30%, whatever, right?
Yeah,
They are deleting, they are literally, they wake up, build something, and then thousands of SaaS products are gone. Like, not that Figma is gone, but these smaller players are like, you're deleted, you're
yeah,
not
yeah,
useless. So yeah, it's tough. It's
yeah.
tough. Last time you were on, you weren't worried about your job and your position as a developer. Is there still same level of calm, and or has it moved a bit?
Uh, it definitely changed. I think we can all feel the you know need for developers shrinking, and the obligations or what we need to do as developers, it's massively changed now. So I think it's definitely different. I still believe that we as developers, if you're a high quality developer, you're gonna have a job. It just depends on what the what the requirements of that job will be and what you'll need to do at that job. Uh, but I think, yeah, it's for people without the experience and without the knowledge, it's definitely a bit harder now. Last time uh, we gave out some advice for junior
Mhm.
developers.
Yeah,
So I don't know, it's getting tougher and tougher for junior developers to find jobs, definitely, since your other developers are much more efficient. Uh, so it's harder to compete with that, and the positions are closing. Uh,
I
so
like. Sorry, like I just want to tie into this to not lose a thought. So I think there is a real problem with companies cutting all the juniors now. You're 100%
yeah,
right. Because what happens in 5 years? Who's a senior then?
yeah,
Who comes to your place in 5 years? Who's Ilya in five? Like there is no, like they are not taking anyone, and it's really big issue. And like how I see it from our standpoint, I'm more confident than ever that developers will always be here and stay here. I don't know what will happen in 10, 20, 30 years, whatever. AI can, if we go to the extremes, we are all dead and AI is, robots are here,
yeah.
right? But
Old
in
fraud.
general, like our business is working better than ever because there is so much being done and so many people joined, and they need, even though they can do it themselves, they can't really, but let's say they can, they still need developers to offload that work to, because it's still a ton of work. It's not you
Yeah,
writing code, but it's you doing everything else. Like you said, it's totally different shift. But the problem with juniors is huge. And for example, we recently hired one more junior straight from college, like last week, I think, just because of that. We want to support and give back a bit, but also these are the best people you can get right now because they don't have any opportunities. Like there is 50 or 60%, I think, less statistic I read, 50 or 60% less junior openings, and even
yeah,
those that are, they are, most of them are fake, and like it's really tough. But we have one junior on our team. that has been with us 6 months right now, and he's crushing it. Like in 6 months, I don't think I've ever seen someone go from zero to that in 6 months. Because if
Yeah.
you have right support, and he has our senior developers alongside him, he can ask all the questions, and he is kind of thrown into fire and just figure it out,
Yeah.
right? Figure it
That's
out.
how that's how good developers are born, I guess.
Exactly. And we are a small company. We do a lot, and we are fast paced, like you guys are as well. So it's like in 6 months this guy became like better than developers that I know that are working for 10, 15 years. That's
Yeah.
honest to God. And then I was like, let's get one more of these, right? And the biggest, what does this guy have that others don't have, is first support from our devs. Like he can ask anything, they help him with structural decisions. He's learning good practices, but he has that hunger, right? And
Yeah.
those social skills, and being able to, like, sometimes I told you this, I think a couple of days ago, like I need to tell him, man, go home. Like stop, and he can't go to sleep until he finishes it. And I think those kind of people don't have to worry, don't have to
Yeah.
worry. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And you'll also hear stories of companies firing, doing massive layoffs, and then later on regretting it when AI doesn't turn out. They don't get the return on investment that they hoped for. And then it's for them it's like, now what? Like you're stuck with you don't have the developers, and now you're gonna have to hire somebody who's probably gonna be more expensive. So it's hard for both for companies, but also for developers to navigate like this wild west that we got today, I guess.
Yeah. And 100%, it's, we'll see where it lands. Like it's really, I think some of these companies are playing with fire by doing that, but also I see the point, and I see it's all a big experiment, and we'll see where it
Yeah,
ends up, I think.
yeah. Everybody's in business to do business and to
Yeah.
make profit and stuff. So at the end of the day, it's everybody's just chasing profit and hoping whatever that they're doing works, and it's all a big gamble.
With all that being said, so the bar for juniors moved from, you don't have to know anything, right? Just come, learn, you need to be hungry, whatever, to now, like, there are big expectations on, you need to be able to orchestrate these agents, but you don't know what you're doing, so you'll orchestrate them wrong. Is that fair to ask someone with zero experience? Like, how do you, like, I know how we do it, and then I want to hear your thoughts. Like, what is, how do you get someone new to this whole different thing of development and programming, which is it now?
Yeah, I mean, uh, if we're being honest, life's not fair. So you
Yeah.
kind of, you're fresh out of college. You're struggling for, you've got no money. You're broke since you probably didn't work. And you should be hungry for work. You should be hungry to make money and to grow as a person, as a developer. So I think for juniors, like you know, uh, full speed ahead. And if you get an opportunity, it's hard to get an opportunity as a junior developer. Just go full blast ahead and embrace whatever the company gives you. For the companies, I think it's important to have the architecture and the structure, and to offer still like a mentorship or somebody who's able to answer all questions. Uh, but also have the proper documentation for the AI agent, so that the developer doesn't have to bother a mentor for some silly question. If he can just go into Claude and ask, what does this thing do, how does it work, and then Claude is going to be able to traverse all the documents and give a proper answer. So practices like that, I believe are really important, but also something that we also emphasized on our last episode, soft skills. Like soft skills are so important for everything, like from basically every sphere of life is impacted by how good
Yeah.
your soft skills are. So work on connecting with other people, read books on how to speak properly, how to, I don't know, there's so many, how to think better, start journaling, start meditating, start working on yourself and improving your soft skills, and it's gonna matter much more than taking a course in something in
Yeah.
how to program in Python. I believe that's where, that's how you become a better developer as well. It's not just the technical skills. You know about people, and I know about, these people who are, they're
Much better.
geniuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're geniuses at software development, but they didn't get hired because somebody else who was less of a genius, he was still a good developer, but he knew how to connect with people. He knew how to talk. He knew how to be a culture fit. That person ends up being hired. It's not just pure like development skills that gets you hired. It's also how well you're gonna work with other people. So that's a huge point I would like to emphasize again. Uh, we see like last time we talked about these skills and stuff, and in 6 months it changed that where basically you don't have to develop anymore. Yeah, those skills are still gonna make you better at your job while prompting agents and stuff, but it's not
New
as
world.
impactful. Yeah, it's a whole new world, and I think soft skills are still gonna be, ask me 20 years from now, like, are soft skills a good investment now? And I'm gonna say yes, like, a resounding
I'm
yes.
I'm smiling while you say this because I believe like both you and I built the careers on that, right? On soft
Exactly.
skills, literally. Like I was never
Yeah.
the best engineer. I was better than average. I was good at it, maybe great, but not amazing, right? And where I gave more was that. And that was like what, 6, 7, whatever it was, years ago, when there is still a lot of jobs. It was easier.
Yeah.
Right now, that's 1,000 times more important than it was back then. So this is great advice. Listen,
Yeah.
listen to
Yeah.
Ilija. Yeah, yeah. And if let's say a 17-year-old or 18-year-old who wants to either go to university or try out um, being a developer, would you still say yes, go for it, or maybe take a better look and make sure you're 100% right, because you'll need to give 200% of yourself for the first 3, 4 years for sure.
Yeah, that's a really tricky question, and it gets trickier as AI advances, because yeah, those skills that you get there aren't gonna be as useful anymore. But who knows? Maybe some universities by now are already like embracing AI and encouraging it and stuff. But the thing that made university special for me was it's kind of a rite of passage or whatever. You're stepping into this new adult world. You get to meet new people, and it's a huge opportunity to invest in your soft skills. Even back in our university, we had courses on communication and like in organizations and stuff like that. So that was probably a pretty good help as well. So I would say it's still worth it, especially in Croatia, where university is mostly free.
Yeah.
Uh, just not for the same reasons as it was worth it for like 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's a bit more. It's definitely changed, and it's mostly for networking and for meeting new people and meeting companies and stuff like that, which you're gonna struggle with if you're a shy person, you're like an introvert, you don't like going out much, like to meet new people. You don't really get the opportunities that you get when you're at university.
100% agreed. Yeah, so juniors, buckle up, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see you in 6 months. We'll see what happens then. Yeah.
Yeah.
One huge issue is skill decay, right? We are, like you said, like you're writing 0 lines of code.
Yeah.
Like, let that sink in, like none, right? Nada. So, how do you make sure you still stay sharp when the tool will do it for you, right? And a lot of the times do it badly for you, right?
Yeah.
Still, even though it's amazing and we praise it, it's still, yeah, it has its issues.
Yeah, that's a huge issue and a really good question, I would say. Uh, I think it's important to stay sharp because what if the AI bubble implodes tomorrow and then we're AI subscriptions cost I don't know $2,000 and nobody's gonna be able to afford it anymore except for the very highest like performers in the industry, uh, and we have to go back to programming and you haven't programmed a single line of code in like 7 months. It's gonna be a an issue to adjust back to that. Uh, Regarding how to stay sharp, I guess, still trying to do some maybe mini project or something for yourself, for your own enjoyment without AI, that could help. Besides that, trying to engage your mind in different ways, reading, philosophy, or, playing these. There's a bunch of puzzle games and little mini games that give you different challenges. Even LinkedIn has those
Yeah.
types of games, and a lot of people play them, and they're super enjoyable. That can be helpful. Yeah,
Yeah.
chess as well, definitely. That's it's very important to keep that edge and keep that sharpness. And a lot of people, even outside the industry, struggle with that. Uh, I know the six-time Mr. Olympia, Chris Bumstead.
Yeah.
He had a post somewhat recently, a few months ago probably, where he said, it's
I
kind
saw
of
that. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of hard to adapt to this environment, and we're offloading our thinking to AI, which is definitely the wrong
And
approach.
it's
And
super
he,
easy to do. Yeah. It's not
yeah,
very
yeah, definitely. And then in 10 years, we're all I don't know, 20
dumb.
IQ,
Yeah.
yeah, 20 IQ number.
Yeah.
Uh, what he ended up doing was he launched a new newsletter where he personally writes each email. Uh, so that's a good approach as well. Try to write your thoughts on a daily, weekly basis,
Yeah.
whatever.
Do
Just
something
to
like this. Like you didn't
yeah,
prepare for this. Like it was, yeah, you're speaking from head. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. There's a ton of different ways. You just gotta be creative, I guess, and come up with ways to still utilize your brain even outside of the working hours.
I think the biggest, like, who is sacrificing the most here, or not sacrificing, but having the worst time is imagine you or me back in middle school or high school or university. Each and every paper you wrote, you actually wrote it, and it was the
Yeah,
most like I remember it. It was the most boring, most painful. I hated it. Like
yeah,
everyone hated it, but you did it. Like you actually spent 5, 10, 20, whatever, depending on what was done, hours researching, preparing it, pulling in sources. Like you were actually doing that.
yeah,
And even though back at the time I was like, this is useless. I'll never use this in my real life. Same as math and all these things. No, it's not useless. Like it's thinking. It's making you work
exactly.
and do something you hate, but still you need to do it. And nowadays these kids, they don't have that, and I'm really sorry for them because they don't have to do anything. Nothing is hard anymore. Anything
Yeah,
that's boring and that they don't want to do, they just do give AI, and AI does it, which is horrible. So I think they are suffering the most without even
Yeah,
knowing it because they have it so, let's say, easy.
yeah, yeah. As you said, it's not like the essay is not the outcome that we want. It's the thinking that comes with writing the essay. And yeah, we're definitely destroying the newer generations with like uh, short
Yeah.
attention span shortening content like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and everything. That's definitely gonna be an issue. Like in I don't know 10, 15 years, where
Yeah.
when
Already
everybody
is.
has when everybody has ADHD and doesn't have the ability to focus. But also, as you said, the offloading thinking to some esoteric being out there, some agent. That's definitely an issue as well. And it makes you question on like how to uh, how to approach this, and what should schools be doing, and what should we as people or as future parents be doing. It's gonna be a
Tough.
whole
Yeah.
new challenge to get over.
It's funny because like they even get like I know a couple of these younger kids and they get mad like, oh, this professor is really checking our AI and it's horrible. Like, come on, man. That's kind of it's his job. Like I'm not
Yeah.
saying like the whole school system is broken and it needs to be revamped to cater this, but like yeah, it's tough. And like for the content side, like just look at yourself. Like at least I catch myself like scrolling and I'm like, what the
What am I
what
doing?
am I doing,
Yeah.
right? Like stop.
Yeah.
And I can do that because I haven't like all my childhood we were out playing with friends, whatever. I wasn't born into it. But
Yeah.
these kids last they have 15 years and last 13 years they all they did it was that.
Yeah, and they
So
they don't have the point of reference
yeah,
that we had.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's tough. Um, I want to I want to move a bit to like founders. We have a lot of people now. Like how we worked previously was we had majority of the clients came with the designer and they had this beautiful Figma and hey, this is what I want to build, and we built it. But now that's not the case. Now they come with Lovable or V0 or whatever these vibe coding apps. They get to a certain point, they have nice UI, nice front end, and nothing works, of course, but it's there. And now they want us to build, and that's great because it's helpful for us to reference it, and we don't need Figmas anymore. They are much faster because they can build it in 2, 3, 5 days, whatever, a week. But it destroys their expectations
Yeah.
because, hey man, I built this in 5 days. Why do you need a month?
Yeah.
And then you need to explain to them you did build it in 5 days, but why did you come with
But
me?
look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why? And then okay, and then you need to manage expectations, and there is this whole thing of, uh, which is like how we work. Like they have a new feature, and we have it ready today or tomorrow, and it's done, it's there, right? But we still need to be like I'm taking responsibility here that it's working, and I'm not sure if it's working because you want me to do it so fast. So there is this like throw and catch, right? Between okay, if you want it extremely fast, it won't be as good. But no, I want it perfect and fast. Like, how do you manage these expectations? Yeah,
Yeah, that's a really tough one. That's a really tough one, and nobody has the perfect answer. I would say it's probably just a matter of open communication, and figuring out ways on how to explain that to people. That yeah, you did make something, but it's not the end product. There's a whole background behind a working product, and that's why we've got teams. That's why there's uh, I heard it was some mobile game studio CEO that said, I saw a clip the other day where he said, yeah, work is much easier. It's much easier to launch a new game or new app or whatever. But still, look at the mobile gaming landscape. Who's the best like in the market. It's still us. Why? Because it's not the shipping of the game. Like, yeah, you can make a new GTA, 6
Yeah.
copy or GTA 5 copy in probably months now. But is it ever gonna be like perform as well as GTA 5 is?
No, yeah.
It's never going to do it. It's never going to have the same success. Why? Because it's not just the building of the product that's important. It's also, a million other decisions in the background. It's also, performance and everything that comes uh, with like hiring a good team. It's still,
Yeah.
yeah, you can build it yourself, but there's so many decisions, and you're not hiring just a person who's going to hand you over the product. You're hiring a team who knows how to make the decisions that you don't know how to make.
Oh, this is perfect.
They,
Yeah.
yeah, they've got years of experience in building products, and they're there because they knew what they're doing. And across those 15 or 10 or 5 or however many years that they've been doing business, they managed to find these, just best cases and best practices, and know how to apply them to your specific needs. So yeah, even though you can build a product in 5 days, it's never going to be perfect, and you don't have the knowledge that a team of professionals has.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. You're not hiring just someone who can code, right?
Yeah,
Or whatever you're hiring for nowadays, writers, whatever. Like you're hiring for the expertise, for the knowledge, and for the, I'll also say like sincere people who really want to help you. Because you can always find someone who will build it for you. Maybe not good, but they'll build it for you.
yeah,
Because you can build it a billion ways. Like there is no one way, and there is no one right way as well. So it's always like what's the best for you at this certain point in time. So try to listen. Try to
yeah,
listen. Uh,
yeah.
One more question for founders before we go to a couple quick ones and close off. So if you're a founder hiring right now, let's say you're a founder hiring right now, how do you know if someone is actually AI augmented or whatever we want to call it, right? Properly doing things and genuinely using it the best way they can and making sure it's all as good as it can be, right? And someone who is just copy paste machine with like no judgment, just Claude spits this out, I copy paste, it maybe works, maybe not, I'm gone, right? Because
Yeah,
even though it's easier than ever and anybody, not anybody, but almost like the threshold is so low that almost anybody can do it. That's why I see we are even more in demand now, or even more important, the good proper developers doing it. How can someone evaluate the two?
yeah. It's probably a bit tougher now because actual skills in development don't matter as much, and judging AI skills is much harder. I would say it just needs the interviewing process needs changing, I guess. Asking different questions, asking about uh, AI like Claude. What are skills? What are Claude docs or whatever? Asking these questions, which are kind of which will let you probe into the thinking of the person you're interviewing, because it's not about the actual skills. It's about how well they're gonna fit into your environment, and how well do you think they're gonna be able to adapt to the ever-changing landscape. uh, Besides that, I think we mentioned this in the last episode. Hiring experts for the interviewing process. Like you and I, we had the same the same issue of, if you have to hire a person who, back before AI, if you had to hire a person for a language or for a technology that you don't know, how are you going to interview that person? You're not. You're going to find an expert in that field and,
Let them do
you
the
know,
job.
uh, let them do the job for you and let them design a interviewing, questionnaire, or let them come onto the interview and you sit beside them and let them ask these tough questions and let them judge on how the person responds. I think that's still the best approach, even if skills don't matter, like development skills don't matter as much. Maybe have a senior developer from your team and ask them what's important for you, uh, like for this new person, and then have that senior developer lead the interview. That's
Yeah.
still probably either doing that, or if you don't have a person you trust or like a person of good enough seniority, then outsourcing that and finding somebody who can lead that interview for you.
Yeah, I think you're right here. Like, and this doesn't mean like Ilya is not saying give the whole interviewing process to someone else. Like, no, like there are
Yeah,
levels to this, portions to this, and you can't just like maybe you can, and if you can, like good on you, congrats. But you can't hop on a 5 minute call with someone and evaluate them, right? You need to do your
yeah,
due diligence before. You need to do your soft skills. You need to do your culture
exactly,
fit and then and only then do the technical part because that's not as important as these other things, right? And the
exactly.
technical part have someone who can help you, of course.
Exactly, yeah, because nobody knows what you need and what you want more than you do. So outsourcing the whole interviewing process, that's not what I'm advocating for. Outsourcing the very critical parts in which you lack expertise or in which you can't cover yourself, um, you know, in which you're not confident enough that you can perform the interview at the level that you require. Outsourcing those is what I'm kind of recommending. But yeah, the culture fit interview, the soft skills interview, that should still be done by you because nobody else can judge on how this person is gonna vibe with you more than you yourself.
Yeah, 100%. One more thing I want to touch on before we close off is a thing that not no one, but it's not talked enough about, and that's how AI has an impact on our environment. All these huge data centers and how they impact it. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's a very important thing that, as you said, you barely hear anybody talk about, and it's definitely not represented enough in the media space. Uh, I'm not sure whether I don't want to get into any conspiracy theories or anything, but it should be talked about more. Uh, there's these huge companies building these huge data centers and all across the world, and they go in and they promise like, yeah, it's all fine, nothing's gonna, there's no impact here. And then you see these cases of water source poisoning and stuff like that because they're not disposing of the water that they use for cooling properly. That's a huge issue. There's a data center that's supposed to open pretty nearby here, and a lot of people are speaking against it, but they're not getting the media coverage that they should be. And it feels like governments nowadays, they're just trying to score points instead of doing the right thing. They're trying to score points so they can just brag that, yeah, we built a data center, instead of doing their due diligence and seeing whether the people actually want that here. uh, and I think that's gonna make also have a huge impact on pricing in the future. Once the environmentalist people catch up, and once the governments start forcing taxes and forcing uh, like issuing fines for breaking the laws or like implementing new laws, I think that's also going to affect the prices, since the companies that do offer these services, they're going to have to pay these fines and pay taxes for and they're going to have bigger costs of managing the waste waters. and of course they're not gonna just pay it and be like, oh yeah, it's fine. They're gonna offload that cost onto the consumer. So that's gonna be a huge impact on costs. And I really I'm really interested to see how this whole thing shakes up, and how, it's basically a humanity issue, how humanity is gonna tackle that environmental like hazard.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. It's also too new, and they're rushing with it, which is never
Yeah,
good. And no one is questioning it because there is so much money involved, and you're not, I guess, allowed to question it as well. So yeah, we'll see. It's a tough one. Again, Ilya, thank you very much for coming on. This was great. We have to do it again in 6 months.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on. It's always a blast to chat.
Thank you. See you, man. Bye.
See ya. Bye.